Welcome everybody to another Mr. Kaiser Diablo 3 build. This was a build requested by a recent subscriber, and they asked to make a melee wizard build because they were curious about it. And I actually had been looking this up, well, wizard builds in general, and I had a melee sorceress in Diablo 2 more as a kind of just experiment, but it actually was pretty fun. And I like how in Diablo 3 they actually you can customize a specific wizard melee build. And basically this is going to be meant for PvE. I could make a PvP build if you guys really want me to, but I'm going to stick with PvE for this one just because I prefer the style that I have, and the style I'm using is based on Conflag, Prodigy, and Arcane Dynamo. And so I use fire spells. So let's get started. My primary ability, which is signature spells. Signature spells are basically free to cast. They cost nothing, obviously. They're free. And with this one, I got Spectral Blade, which is, it turns your weapon basically into this crazy spectral like katana, and it deals AoE damage, 135% weapon damage, and I have Siphoning Blade, where every enemy hit grants 1 arcane power. Wizards rely on arcane power. They use, I believe, 100 arcane power, and it generates over time, which I prefer that a lot because I'm not a big fan of mana, which is kind of weird because I said I was going to be playing a Witch Doctor. But I might actually end up playing this build instead for my Let's Play series. We'll see. I mean, I'm still debating between what I want to do for that. So, moving on, my secondary ability was Arcane Orb. It costs 35 arcane power, which is relatively not too bad. And you hurl an orb of pure energy that explodes when it hits, dealing 175% weapon damage as arcane to all enemies within 10 yards, so it's a short melee range. This works very well for the melee wizard build because you don't have to worry about ranged, or casting it and then things moving out of your way. And with this, I got the rune for Arcane Orbit. You create 4 arcane orbs that orbit you, exploding for 70% weapon damage as arcane when enemies get close. So in a sense, this will do a total of 280% weapon damage, but it's within 4 arcane orbs. The reason I didn't go for the original one is because you have to hurl it, and it has to glide and hit things. With this one, they come to me and it hits them. So I prefer that over just the regular old arcane orb. For my defensive ability, I got Diamond Skin. As a 15-second cooldown, relatively low cooldown. You transform your skin into diamond for 6 seconds, absorbing up to 10,853 damage from incoming attacks. And I also have Diamond Shards. When Diamond Skin wears off, Diamond Shards explode in all directions, dealing 155% weapon damage as physical to nearby enemies. I got Diamond Shards because it does more than my regular weapon damage, and it's pretty strong. And 15-second cooldown isn't that bad. The way it's going to work is, I mean, 11,000 damage, I'm rounding up, obviously. That's relative. That's 6 seconds the armor will last, so you figure that's 9 seconds left, and by the time the damage wears off, I mean, I don't have to wait that long for this to recast, so I didn't get the rune for the shorter cooldown, just because, and I didn't get the passive skill for the shorter cooldown, just because 15 seconds doesn't bother me. And I also got Meteor. It costs 35 arcane power, and there's a reason I did this, because the initial damage is 200% weapon damage, because you summon the immense meteor that plummets down from sky and explodes everywhere. As fire to all enemies it crashes into. The ground it hits is scorched with molten fire that deals 60% weapon damage as fire over 3 seconds. The reason I got Star Pact is because I can only cast this once, and then I'm down to 40 arcane power, and I would have to wait. And then I would only be able to cast Arcane Orb, and then boom, I'm out. And I'd have to switch to spamming Spectral Blade, and I don't want to have to rely on that. I want to be able to use this as a build-up of arcane power and then unleash more than one meteor. That way to get more damage off. And then I got Magic Weapon. Costs 25 arcane power. You imbue your weapon with magical energy, granting it 10% increased damage. It lasts 5 minutes. I have Electrify. Attacks have a chance to cause lightning to arc to 3 nearby enemies, dealing 10% weapon damage as lightning. So it's a low amount, but this is pretty nice just because it's a low amount of damage. Although, if you want me to be completely honest with you, I would also probably get this one too, Conduit, because I'm going for an art. Actually, you know what? Yeah, you'd probably want to be best with Conduit. See, I just made a quick fix because I just think I'm always trying to theory craft even when I'm making these videos. I would actually prefer Conduit. More arcane energy is being restored, so you can combine this with Spectral Blade and get a lot of energy. And then, to wrap this up really quickly, I got Explosive Blast. It costs 20 arcane power, cooldown of 6 seconds. Gather an infusion of energy around you that explodes after 1.5 seconds, causing 225% weapon damage as physical to all enemies within 12 yards. I have the rune for Short Fuse, which immediately releases the energy of Explosive Blast for 225% weapon damage as physical, so it's immediate. Boom, 6 second cooldown, low arcane power cost, I like it. Then really quick, we'll go over these. Prodigy. When you deal damage with a signature spell, you gain 4 arcane power. And obviously that works for Spectral Blade. So Spectral Blade is gaining me 5 arcane power every time. And with Conduit, I will have a chance to gain 6 off of that. So keeping it up so I can keep using my Meteor and Arcane Orbs and my Blasts. And obviously meleeing people to death. Because meleeing people to death is fun. Especially as a wizard, because they wouldn't expect that. They'd expect you to not be near them. But whatever. Then I got Conflagration. Fire damage dealt to enemies applies a burning effect, increasing all damage done to them by 10% for 3 seconds. Obviously, really great with Explosive Blast being instant, with a 6-second cooldown, and Meteor having no cooldown and costing 20 or 35 arcane power. So, more chance to do more damage, right? Alright. Then I got Arcane Dynamo. When you deal damage with a signature spell, you may gain a Flash of Insight. After 5 flashes of Insight, your next non-signature spell deals 75% additional damage. So, Spectral Blade, cast it 5 times, give 5 stacks. Or unless you miss every time, which would suck, but I doubt that would happen. Anyways, 75%, so almost dealing double damage with your other abilities that are non-signature. Unless they just apply the 75% directly into its original damage, which is still powerful as hell. So, that's it for my Melee Wizard build. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video. I hope you guys will stick around, as always. Like and favorite. And subscribe to go that little extra mile to support me. And, yeah, you'll be seeing a lot more Diablo 3 content since we are officially 1 week away. So, everybody,